All right, guys, welcome back into another NFL DFS video. My name is Eric Paulzine with 95 Sports. Going to be getting into the week 2 stacks, okay? Game stacks, team stacks, all that stuff here. So we're going to get right into it here for you guys. So real quickly, I'm just going to show you guys on the 9-to-5 cheat sheet, the stacking report, just real quick so we can get that started, get that information out there for you guys. So how I have it broken down is you can go by total salary, average remaining salary, projection rank, projection value, projection rank value, ownership leverage rank, and all that stuff. Okay, so I just want to give you guys that quick breakdown before we get into the DraftKings side of it, so you guys can see. So how I have this broken down is just looking at receiver 1, tight end 1, quarterback 1, and running back 1, just so that we can get a good idea of it. Okay, obviously we can break it down differently, and obviously I will be doing that with Jalen Waddle in there, who's technically the receiver number 2. Jalen Waddle on the cover with Tyreek Hill, or with Tua Tagovailoa. Okay. Like, we'll make that adjustment. But just going off of it right now, we can easily see that, yes, the Las Vegas Raiders and the Arizona Cardinals game is going to be one that we should stack. It's got the highest projected stack there with Darren Waller, Devontae Adams, Derek Carr, and Josh Jacobs, if we were to include all 4 of those into a build. And then same thing for the Arizona Cardinals, James Conner, Kyler Murray, Marquise Brown, and Zach Ertz, if we were just to include those players, okay? And there are some other players in those games that I actually like a little bit more. And just looking at the game over and under for that game, that one specifically, 51.5, okay? So the implied touchdowns for Las Vegas are 4.75, and for Arizona, it's about 4 touchdowns total, 3.83. So lots of scoring in that game. And then also we see the Detroit Lions are popping up there as well as a decent stacking play as well. And you have a decent amount of salary left over on average if you go with the line stack there. And let's just look at which stack provides you the best average remaining salary. Okay, it would be the Jets, which I don't know if you guys like that, but I don't hate it. Like Elijah Moore, it's kind of a guessing game with the receivers, but like Michael Carter and Tyler Conklin are both pretty cheap. I wouldn't say play Joe Flacco, but not a terrible one there. Let's just look at projected rank. We already saw that actually kind of saw. Just get into projected value rank. Which stack is the best projected value rank? Still the Raiders, which is kind of crazy there. And then we get the Atlanta Falcons, kind of interesting there. And then we get the Detroit Lions. And then just based off their collective ownerships, which stack gives you the best leverage? That'd be the Atlanta Falcons. And that can be a sneaky game stack, I think. So let's just keep that in mind as we're making these builds here. So let's start off here. We're going to get started with, the cover team. We got the Miami Dolphins, and this is just going to be stacking the quarterback with his 2 receivers. You look at the Baltimore Ravens, currently their top 4 DBs are injured. Marlon Humphrey, he is banged up. Okay, Marcus Peters might play, but he hasn't played in a while. And then they got 2 of their other DBs that are currently banged up. Kyle Fuller is out for the season. So Tua should be able to feast. There is no excuse for him if he doesn't have a big game. And he has 2 of the best receivers in the league, with Tyreek Hill just absolutely dominating. Tyreek Hill is already a core play, cash play for me, just with his usage. I've said this a lot this season already. They designed this offense around Tyreek Hill to get him the ball. Okay, so getting 12 targets is I'm not going to say that's going to be the norm. Okay, 12 targets is a lot, but getting 8 targets per game, I think will be the norm. And given how banged up the Baltimore Ravens are on defense, he should be able to feast in this one. So he is someone I'm definitely going on my way to play at 7.1. That is not too much. Then you got Jalen Waddle, who, sure, the targets weren't exactly there for him, but he was still able to score touchdowns, still able to get 69 yards. And maybe we see him get a little bit more targets in this one if Tyreek Hill doesn't get as many targets. But either way, the defensive attention, I think if the offense is continuing to flow through Hill, the defensive attention will be on Tyreek Hill. So that would mean Jalen Waddle, obviously not getting as much attention, could easily dominate that way. And if you guys wanted to take it one step further, you could go with Chase Edmonds, who's pretty cheap for a guy that had 8 yards or 8 DK points via the passing game last week. I thought he was impressive in the passing game. So a decent stack that you can go with just to start that game. I'm not sure if I would run it back with anyone in this game, maybe Mark Andrews, but then you're kind of strapping yourself salary-wise. So that might be something I kind of avoid in that sense. I don't hate the Jacksonville stack still. Trevor Lawrence is pretty cheap. He missed a few touchdowns that were there, and I'm not going to say that's going to get corrected, but if you wanted to maybe game stack this a little bit, you could go Lawrence, JT, and then you go Christian Kirk, Zay Jones. That's not a horrible start to a stack. And then Austin Doolin, who I think is a decent value play this week. You could play him as well at 3.2. It's an okay game stack. If you guys were trying to game stack that game, or maybe just doing a showdown slate, you could get away with that. It's not something I personally love, but if you guys want to go that route, I get it. I get what you're seeing in there. But let's get into the Washington versus the Detroit Lions game stack. So Carson Wentz 5.8. That's a great price point for him. He looked very sharp last week, minus a couple of plays there. If you want to play Carson Wentz with Antonio Gibson in a game stack, you could. Obviously, he had a lot of targets last week. Had 22 total opportunities, rushing attempts, and targets. That's very solid. If he gets 5 targets in this one for 4 receptions and let's say 40 yards, that is still pretty solid. And if he does do that against the Detroit Lions, he should be able to feast. So he is priced up a little bit, and I don't want to go crazy with that, but I don't mind that. We got to monitor DeAndre Swift's situation. I do expect him to play, but if he were to sit, then you would have Jamal Williams in there in a game stack. I don't mind going with DeAndre Swift currently. And then it's just pretty simple from there. We got Ron St. Brown there. DJ Chark, who looked pretty sharp. And then you got Curtis Samuel, who could easily play as well. We got a solid game stack there, right there. And then you could even go TJ Hawkinson if you wanted to, or Logan Thomas, who did play a decent amount and looked better as the game went on. Obviously had 6 targets. So this would be a pretty solid game stack in a game that is supposed to be decently high scoring at 48.5 points. So, you're probably getting most of the touchdowns from this game with this game stack. And it's one that could easily, if it get lucky, maybe goes into overtime, it could really hit. And you're obviously getting all the studs from this game into one build. So that's the main reason why I like it. All right, real quickly, just showing you this game because I do think this game could be sneaky good. You could either pay up for Matthew Stafford at 6.3 with a game stack. Obviously, I think he's going to have a much better game. It was his first live action the whole season. He didn't play in the preseason at all, was coming off of that injury as well. It was no shock really that he struggled in that game. I do expect him to bounce back very strong in this game. So if you want to go Matthew Stafford, you could, but I also don't mind Marcus Mariota. The key here is that Josh Allen against the Rams last week rushed the ball a ton. Okay, Marcus Mariota also rushed the ball a ton. If they can continue to do that, if they can continue to let Marcus Mariota run the ball effectively, then yes, he'd be a great value. I'm not sure we're going to get that this week. So if we're trying to game stack this game, I would much rather go Matthew Stafford. And then from there, I love Cordarrelle Patterson's price point. Guys, he had 27 total opportunities last week. That is insane. At 6K to get that, a guy that should have a decent floor in the passing game at 6K in a game that I think is going to be higher scoring than maybe Vegas thinks. That is highly appealing to me. And then from there, we're going Cooper Kupp, obviously. Drake London actually looked very impressive. This is a defense that did get tore up via the passing game last week, so he would be a play that makes a lot of sense. And then Ben Skowronek there, a great value play that if you're really trying to game stack this game, you could. And then if you wanted to take it one step further, Tyler Higbee had 11 targets last week, 5 receptions for 39 yards, 8.9 DK points. He'd be a solid play for you as well. A pretty solid game stack there. Maybe you would toss in Kyle Pitts instead of Higbee or something. I don't know. I like Higbee a decent amount this week, so I'd be going him. But now getting into the game you just want to target, I like Derek Carr a lot. I've mentioned this on a couple of videos now. He was 5 yards away from the 300 yards passing bonus, and if he gets that, his DK production, his day looks very good DraftKings wise. So let's just assume he gets that against the Arizona Cardinals defense that didn't look good, that just got tore up by the Kansas City Chiefs. And we just saw the team that the Las Vegas Raiders played in the Los Angeles Chargers. That defense is very impressive. Okay, that's what we were wondering. Is the Los Angeles Chargers defense for real? And they were. So for Derek Carr to still be able to put up 16.8 DK points against the Chargers is highly impressive to me. Okay, now he's going against a very soft matchup in comparison. I do expect Derek Carr to have a much better game in this one. And then if we're playing him, we're obviously playing Devontae Adams. And then I will say Darren Waller had a very good game, or not Darren Waller, Travis Kelce had a very good game against the Cardinals last week. So you could easily see Darren Waller having a great game against them as well. On the flip side, you could easily run it back with Marquise Brown. I think he's just a GPP play every single week, I think. And until that happens, I'm probably just going to chase it. Until he has a huge game, I'm going to chase that. Obviously, this is a game in which it should happen. Then we got Greg Dortch, just an elite value play on the slate. 9 targets last week. I just don't really see those targets going away. That is just how this offense functions, and he should be able to get at least 6 targets in this one and at least be able to hit value. Greg Dortch, just a tremendous value on the slate. And if you guys want to go James Conner, you could easily do that there as well. But that is all I have for you guys for the stacks. We have a bunch of good ones there. Hopefully one of those stacks hits. I think they do have a pretty good chance to hit it. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give me a like, subscribe, and as always, guys, let's keep cashing.